It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. You've done everything the way that you were supposed to. You followed all the rules, climbed all the ladders, wore the heels, and even shaved your legs when you didn't really want to. You ran when you were tired. You conformed when you wanted to create, and you diluted your words when you had something potent to say. And while it worked, it also didn't. There's a not so little voice that's getting louder by the day. And she's saying, you know what? I have a lot more to give. And this time, I want to do it my way. Today, we're going to start to explore what that looks and feels like for your next chapter. This is an exercise on radical self-honesty, not to fix things, not to run before we have all the details, but instead to explore. Start to see what it is that you really want. Move the way that you want to move, create the way that you want to create, and start moving as the person you know you've always wanted to be. If you're ready to do life and business your way, this episode is for you. Today, we're going to go down a little bit of a journey of playing in the space of what if, okay? Your brain's going to naturally want to run into, well, how am I going to do this? And what is the timeline? And how am I supposed to do all these things? And I need all the details and I need a spreadsheet. Listen, there will be a time and a place. Today, this exercise, what I'm going to guide you through right now, not that time and place. You're really good at doing shit. Okay, you're high achieving, you like to get shit done, you like your stuff in order, right? That's not the problem. The problem is you're in this hamster wheel of doing a lot of things that maybe are not for you anymore, or doing things in a way that someone else has taught you, or that you felt like you should, or that you've absorbed throughout your life. And so you're running, you're getting all this shit done, but there's this unfulfilled part of you that's like, I don't think this is it anymore. In fact, maybe it was never really it, but I'm just coming to terms with that now. So this is an exercise on pausing. Listen, almost every woman that comes into Ourline, I have them go through some sort of pause, and they don't love it. I'm telling you, if you join Ourline, you might not love this part, but this is the part that cracks everything open. It's where you face yourself in a whole new way. It's where you discover so much new information about who you are and what you really want and what's not really working anyway. It's like all of a sudden you're looking at things from a bird's eye view instead of down inside the trenches. And it's uncomfortable because we're not tinkering, we're not fixing, we're not adjusting, we're just observing. But it's in this stillness, this pause, this kind of reflective moment where you gather so much information. You can hear yourself for the first time in a really long time. Your creativity comes back online. You start getting new ideas again. You start realizing like, why was I tolerating that shit in the first place? You know what I mean? So it's uncomfortable, okay? But listen to me. Trust me here. If you go through this exercise and then you take action after it, not in the middle of it, not running in it, not fixing or adjusting stuff, but sitting with it, being real with yourself. This is an exercise on radical honesty. I promise you that when you start taking action again, you're going to be walking, maybe even sprinting, maybe doing a little jig in the right direction. You'll be on a path where your soul is like, oh, finally. Oh my gosh, it's starting to come together. Oh, this is making so much more sense. Holy shit, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. That's the good shit. I'm not saying that changing something or evolving in your life is always going to be peachy keen. Okay, obstacles pop up, things happen. I think that we're both human. I think we both get that. But when you're out of alignment with your own life and in your own business, everything feels like trying to put a pissed off toddler in a car seat. It doesn't matter what you say to them. It doesn't matter what you promise them. It doesn't matter what you bribe them with. If they have already made up their mind that they don't want to fucking go, they're not easing up. Oh no, they are stiffer than a fucking 2x4. And then you got to walk away, or you got to scream into the void, or you say things that you got to go back and talk about later. And it's just not a great situation. Continuing to do things in a way that you don't really want to do them is your own version of the toddler. Ignoring your wants, your desires, your needs, your creativity, your bigness, that is your toddler. But when you're in alignment with yourself, you're honoring the way that you want to do things, the way that you naturally work, the way that you want to put things into the world, or you want to shift the way that you're doing business, right? When you really are just honoring the things that come so freaking naturally to you, that toddler no longer is the one that's fighting you in the car seat, but it's the one that's putting their own shoes on before you have to say anything. It's the toddler that has this perfectly curated nap time right when you have an important meeting. It's the toddler that looks at you in the eye and rubs your face with their little hand and says, "I love you, mommy," instead of slapping you across the face. This toddler still needed your guidance. It still needed support. But this time, things landed and they're working out in your favor. So much of this next chapter in your life is coming back to you, relearning what works for you and what doesn't, what you like and what you don't like. Noticing the things that you've been tolerating and why you're just no longer willing to do that. Look, we all do this. We all abandon ourselves in some form or fashion somewhere along the way. We see modeled behavior, right? You see something that worked for somebody else and we repeat it and we think, hey, I'm going to have the same success. And turns out that's not how you really want to do it. All kinds of thoughts and fears and emotions pop up, right? There's fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of being alone, fear of financial loss. That stuff often dictates the way that we do things, because if there's a safer option, if there's a more guaranteed path, why wouldn't we? It's those very same things that challenge our safety and security. There's protection in doing things someone else's way. Sometimes we completely ignore ourselves because we want to be liked. We want to be accepted. We want a shortcut to success. And sometimes we ignore the things that we need because something early in our life told us that that was not okay. So if you have ignored yourself, if you have abandoned yourself in some form or fashion, if you've tucked away all of your ideas for decades, or you're starting to realize that you're living somebody else's life and not really your own, we're not here to shame it. This is not about blaming it. This is not going back. This is not pointing fingers. This is radical honesty. Realizing and acknowledging, okay, this is what I've been doing and it's not working anymore. Maybe it never really worked in the first place, but there's nothing I can do about that. But today, right here, right now, I can. Every moment is an opportunity to shift. Every option is an opportunity to choose. And from here on out, we're going to start to choose you a little bit more in each situation. Crafting a new chapter does not happen overnight. Okay, I wish I could just wave a magic wand and that's how that happens, but you're gaining valuable information in this very uncomfortable shift. And reminder, it's only uncomfortable because it's new, not because it's wrong. This is about slowing down long enough to question things, to get curious about stuff again, and to honor what it is that you really want in the first place. I want to give you a couple of questions for you to really sit with. You can journal it if that feels good. You can type stuff out in a Google Doc if that's your jam. You can talk it out into the ether if that's more your speed. I don't care how you do it. I just want you to be honest with yourself. Okay. Reminder that we're not changing everything today. In fact, you might not be changing much at all, other than the way that you're seeing things. If there is something that you get extreme clarity on and you're like, I know what the right next step is, look, I'm not here to tell you to stop. What I don't want you to do, though, is to run and fix or to tinker or to go 100 miles an hour when really you need to kind of sit and marinate a little bit. I want you to give yourself time to really let the things come into you, flow through you, and start to break up some clarity. Because when you have clarity, you have direction. And when you have direction, you can start making moves that support that instead of going against it. So the first things first, we're going to talk about what's not working. Okay? Be honest about what is not working and why. And you can look at this as a whole in your life and or your business, or you can break it down into a very specific thing that you're wanting to focus on. I'm guessing if you're listening to this episode, there was already something kind of brewing in the background, but just in case you need a little extra direction, you can look at things like your health, your time, your routines, your career, your relationships, your finances, communication, your marriage, right? You get to choose how and where you want to go with this. The goal here is that without judgment, honor and acknowledge what's not working. I had a clarity session with a woman that is about to join Auraline, and we went through this exercise together. And the biggest thing that she realized is, oh my God, Laura, this is not working. I thought I was doing good. I thought I was playing it safe. I thought I was supporting other people in my life, which, yeah, she was doing those things. But she was hiding behind her partners, both her husband and her business partner, always putting them up on a pedestal, putting them up in a limelight and taking the back seat. Now, look, not everybody wants to be in the limelight, and that's okay, except she does. She's got some really incredible ideas that she is wanting to bring forward, but she had some deeply rooted fears around what would happen if she did that. How would she be perceived if she stood in the limelight next to them? And in less than 30 minutes, we shifted that shit. She's like, that's not working anymore. She remembered all of the ideas that she had, what she wanted to do with this business, how much money she wanted to make, the impact that she knows that her work has on people. And she realized hiding behind these amazing people is not working anymore. It's time to do something different about it. The primary question to ask yourself right now is, what's not working? The sub question, if you want to go a little bit deeper then, is why? Why isn't this working? What is this asking you to put off? Like, what is being delayed in your life, in your career, in your success, in your health, in your happiness, in your fulfillment? What is this asking you to put off? What part of you feels limited by this? Ooh, this is a juicy one. What part of you feels limited by this? For the woman that I spoke to, her whole gig is about communication skills for women, and yet she feels completely limited by her own communication. Funny how that works, isn't it? Lastly, what thoughts and emotions are building because of this? Like, think about the things that you say to yourself. What are the stories that you're saying? How are you talking to yourself? What are you saying about yourself? And what are the feelings that are building? Are you getting more restless by the day? Is your anger building up like you could just fucking throw hands? Are you short-tempered with things? Is your depression or your anxiety ramping up? Do you feel more disconnected than you've ever felt? Really acknowledge these feelings that you're carrying around. You're carrying them for a reason. And even more importantly, you're feeling them for a reason. They're coming up because they are ready to be released. And sometimes that release comes from honoring where they came from in the first place and shifting the way that you're approaching it, which shifts us now into the future, into the space of what if, into, ooh, you know what? There's some possibility here. The real question here is, if you had all the answers, all the resources, all the support that you need, how would you want to do this instead? How would you build this next chapter? How would you change what you're doing? This is a really big internal shift, a mindset shift from asking, can I do this, to how do I want to do this? That's a whole different energy. And if you didn't feel that little zest in your body, I want you to hit that rewind 15 or 30 seconds a couple of times and really feel into that. Can I do this questions your ability. How do I want to do this solidifies your possibility. Ooh, this is the shit that gets me excited. Okay. Think about it. Literally, like, you're in this space. You've got it all figured out. Okay. We're going to get to that point eventually, but right now, just roll with me. Okay. What makes you feel nervously excited? Like, oh damn, if I did that, my gosh, that could be really cool. Or that would feel so much better. That same woman that I told you about just a couple of minutes ago, we walked through this exercise, and before the end of our call, again, all this happened in a span of 30 minutes. Before the end of that call, she knew what her next step was. She honored what she really wanted to do. And spoiler alert, it's the thing that she's been thinking about for a really long time. When we were finished with the call, she's like, Laura, I feel more alive and shifted than I have in a really long time. She's like, I've been trying to do this alone for a long time, and I just need someone to help me see what I can't see. And that's exactly what you just did. And I'm excited that that's what we're going to continue to do together. We figured out the what, we figured out the why. In Oraline, we're going to figure out and do the how. She found her thing by being honest with herself, by saying the quiet stuff out loud. She already knew what she wanted. So I'm going to bet that there's something that's been brewing in you for more than a hot second. A change you've been wanting to make, something new that you've been wanting to create, something you've wanted to add into your life, something that you've wanted to remove from your business, right? Like it's probably this thing that kind of pops in, it gets a little exciting, and then your brain's like, nope, can't do that. And you put it back in the box and you put it away. Could it be possible right now, as you do this exercise, to be honest about what that is? To vocalize it, to put it on paper. What is that thing that makes you feel nervously excited? And if you want to dig a little bit deeper, what feels worth figuring out? I don't even want to say fighting for, because we don't need to fight. We've been fighting with ourselves long enough. So instead, what feels worth figuring out? Like, you know that something new or a change in your life is going to take effort. Right? Like you don't just decide one day and the next day it's there. You're going to have to put in work, but you're going to be putting in work no matter what you do. The work to maintain what doesn't work anymore, or the work to figure out something new. What feels worth figuring out? I don't know about you, but when I'm learning things that I need to learn in the direction of something that I really want, I'm locked the fuck in. Like I become a sponge. I want to know this information. I want to gather what I need to gather. Like it's exciting. And yeah, I might be tired at the end of some days, but I'm not exhausted in a way that my soul feels depleted. I'm exhausted in a way where I just need to give my body and my mind some time to integrate all the things that I've just gathered. I want you to also think about, what could this thing give back to you? Like there was a part of you that was taken, that was given away, that's gone somewhere else, right? What could this thing give you back? Time, money, energy, resources, relationships, peace, excitement, health. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. You don't have to limit it to one even. Think about having this thing, going through with this, really honoring what it is that you want in this next chapter. What could that give back to you? And when you think about having those things back, how now do your thoughts and your emotions change because of it? You know what the thoughts and emotions that you were carrying felt like when you don't have it, when you continue to ignore it. What does it feel like when you actually go for it? When you believe in yourself, when you follow through for yourself, when you ask questions, when you get the right support system in your world, when you kick back in your chair one day and you realize, holy shit, this is actually happening. What do those thoughts sound like in your mind? It's probably saying something like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I did this. How amazing that I get to show my kids what's possible. Wow, I did that talk and it landed with somebody and it really changed their life. Oh my gosh, I got a DM from somebody that is thanking me for doing the work that I do. My husband or my wife is saying, oh my gosh, like you're so much more present and we're having fun again. I like who I am. I feel good in my skin again. All of these are actual thoughts that you can have. Turns out they don't always have to be shitty thoughts. You have an array of options of great things to choose from, and they're substantially easier to access when you're honoring yourself. Instead of crying because you can't stand this anymore, you're crying because you can't believe that it's all fucking coming together. Instead of being pissed off and frustrated and shut down, you're laughing again. Instead of laying in bed at night, staring at the clock, wondering when all this shit is going to change, you instead wake up in the middle of the night with a brand new idea that you have to write down because it's that damn good. All of this is accessible to you, and it all starts with a choice to be real and honest and vulnerable about what's not working. A choice to let yourself go there, to imagine, to play in the space of what if and say, what do I really want to do instead? And a choice to take the action that gets it. That's the gutsy move. The honesty is the gutsy move. The vulnerability is the gutsy move. The stillness to hear yourself in this messy ass middle, that is the gutsy move. And getting the thing that you want, shifting your life, expanding your business, doing things your own way, all of that is a result of hundreds of little tiny gutsy moves that got you there. The gal that I've been telling you about this entire episode, I am so stoked to support her inside of Auraline because I watched her go from pulled back, reserved, kind of hiding behind things, skating around things, to sitting back in her chair, chest open, confidence just pouring out of her, and an inner knowing where she was like, oh yeah, we're about to fucking do this. She emailed me afterwards and said, Laura, the shifts continued throughout the day, and I had some really big, beautiful conversations that I didn't even know that I was capable of having. That's how quickly and easily we can get down into the root of something and start taking action in the right direction. So if you're a woman in business, you're ready to build this next chapter your own way, and you've been craving some deeper support to help you figure out how to do it, Auraline is your place. So let's hop on a call. Go to lauraora.com/clarity. Let's have a little breakthrough of your own, shall we? And then we'll figure out what your right next step is. And if you're more of a DM kind of gal, you just have a few clarifying questions before you take that step in, come DM me. My handle is @thatlauraora across all the platforms. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.